Hi everybody, Coyote Guy here. I was moving through these stand of trees the other day on my way to shoot the creek video that I put up first, and these green things kept falling out of the sky at me. And what these green things are shagbark hickory nuts. They come from the shagbark hickory tree. These were a food source for the Native Americans as well as the early pioneers. And what I want to do today is I want to show you how to ID them, how to husk them, and how to get to the nut meat inside. So you can put them in your own cookies, breads, brownies, anything like that. Or you can just eat them because they're good. Now this stand of trees is only about 4 minutes from my front door. There might be some construction noise you hear. I am well within the city limits at this point. My point to all that is that I want to just stress that this sort of thing you can find in a city park. You just got to keep your eyes open, know what to look for, and you'd be surprised what you might be able to find. I wanted to show everybody we're looking for shagbark hickory nuts, and one of probably the easiest ways to identify a shagbark hickory is by the shaggy bark. You can see this, pardon for any cracking noise here. It's really still very dry here. But the bark of the hickory tree, especially the shagbark hickory tree, looks like this. When you're in the woods, it's very distinctive from other trees. As we move along here, there's a couple others. You can see how that bark is that bark just peels off, right? It's a good example right here. It's just all going to come off, wanting to come off. Another thing to look for when you're starting to look around on the ground, once you find the shagbark hickory tree, it's going to be pretty easy. But you'll find hulls like this where it's just split, and they'll be in a foursome. Here's a whole one. All right. You can see the quadrants there on the husk. And inside that, here's a good example. Inside of that is a hickory nut. And so that right there is what we're after. Ta-da! Right. We've got ourselves a pretty good haul here of assorted hickory nuts. And we're going to work our way through these, but I'm going to take you through it step by step. Hey, I've got my all-purpose tool of choice here. You could use a hammer, but hey, let's do it old school, right? Okay, so one thing first off, let me see if I can find one here. That one's a good example. This one is way too green yet, so we're going to let that one dry out. And I'm going to do that by pretty much just leaving it outside in the bucket. And I'll make sure that these down here in the bottom, you want to make sure they get air. So you might want to shake them up every now and then. But that's way too green. I'll show you what happens. This one is a little bit better off. It's a little bit more dry, a little bit lighter. I'll show you the difference between the two here. So this one, if I take my tool of choice here, and I'm just gonna, got a little pointed bit there, that's what I'm looking for. Either one is good. Hit that a few times. You can see that one actually split, which is good. A bit windy here, hope you can hear this. But see how that pulps that up? And it's really hard, it's really tough yet, so we're going to let that dry out. That's not happening. However, we're going to take this one that I said was a little bit better off. We're going to do the same thing, okay? Ta-da! There you go. So it doesn't take much. Now, with these bits here, you can use them as compost. So pile them up, throw them in your garden, or throw them in your compost heap. Okay, so we have a hickory nut here, and I want to show you. These things are really, really tough to crack if you don't know the way to do it. I put a little black dot here. I'll get to that in a minute. That's where we're going to hit it. That's the basics of that. This shell is really hard, and it's an intricate little nut. Hopefully I'll be able to get this out in one piece so you can see. Kind of looks like a brain. But if you use nutcrackers on this thing, you're going to be picking the meat out of this. That's what you're going to spend all your time doing. So what you do, you lay it on your side, like nya, hold it firmly between finger and fourth finger, and we're going to aim right there. We're going to give it a couple good whacks, and it should split in a pattern that allows us to open it up. Okay, so again, lay it on its side like this. We're going to strike that black spot. Let's see if we can get this to work. Tool of choice, or weapon of choice if you want to go there. I'm going to use this end here. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of peel it back. There you go. Didn't quite fracture the way I wanted it to, so I'm going to try it right about there. There we go. You can see it's an intricate chambers. We just pull, give it a little tug, and there is our hickory nut. So I wanted to show you with this is that if you can see it, the walls of this shell are very thick, very, very hard, like incredibly. I mean, you could actually maybe even cut something with that if you could. Nah, probably not. But anyway, this is my point. If you just go whacking this thing with a hammer or a pair of nutcrackers, well, it'll be a mess.
Just so everybody knows what you're getting into, when you crack hickory nut, sometimes you'll come across a little grub there, and that grub will completely harmless, but he'll be in there eating on the nut meats, and usually I just pitch him aside, but you could also, if you were out in the woods, use him for fishing, use him as a bait. Hey, you could keep a couple and eat them if you really needed the protein, but my take on it is hey, you've got nuts, but hey, when you're out in the woods and you're by yourself and you're trying to survive, anything becomes food real quickly.
After hulling and cracking for a little bit, we're going to have just this little bit of hickory nut. And the plan here is we're going to put them in the oven for just a little bit, dry them out.
Okay, so we've cracked a bunch of hickory nuts, and we got ourselves a decent amount of hickory nut meat. And here we go. Now, after I crack them, what I like to do when I'm at home is I'll toast them in the oven, 150 degrees, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just till they're sort of, till they're a little dried out, but toasted. It just helps them stay preserved a little longer. Then I'll throw them in a jar or a Ziploc bag, put them in the refrigerator, and then you can keep them for a while. I've not tried freezing them. I'm sure you can. Be interested to know if anybody's done this for longer term storage in the freezer. It'd be interesting to know. And then you're done. So, then you can eat them. You can eat them right out of the shell if you want, but they're delicious. Use them in anything you want. It goes without saying, but if you have a nut allergy, don't even watch this video. You're liable to have an allergic reaction. Nobody wants that. Two things I want to wrap up with. One was the hulls that I harvested were they were a little green, and so they're going to take time. You have to let them dry out, and then you crack them open. and they'll sort of look more darker brown, like this, and they'll be drier. They'll break easier too. I'm just doing that so I have them on hand, and then when those are dried out, I'll crack them up and fill this jar up. So don't be thinking that those are all, if you go out and find green hickory nut hulls, that they're going to just pop open like that. They're not. Secondly, don't overtax the system. If you find a stand of hickory trees, yeah, go ahead, harvest a few, but please remember that there are animals out there that are depending on that to get through the winter. So keep that in mind. Don't overburden the system. Be part of the system, not selfishly all of the system. And just a cool little anecdote. Going to finish up this video, I found a blue jay feather, which you may have heard some already. I love finding these feathers. Find them all the time, and all sorts of different things you can use them for as ornamentation. But there you go. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'm Coyote Guy, and see you around next time.
Who's that little grub? That grubby grub.